Hello, ladies and gents. Hagbard Celine here on another beautiful afternoon, and the video I have before me today is one of the fundamental reasons I got into doing these videos. It infiltrated the schools. While I understand that this young lady is indeed doing this video for a classroom assignment, that does not excuse it, any more than it excused Kate Brooks, and now we've seen that she was a bullshitter. So as it is, I'm not going to accept any of these things as excuses. As they inherently are not excuses, they are part of the problem. So with that in mind, view this video with me and we'll see exactly what they mean by social justice in the classroom. And as far as I can tell, just a little spoiler is, lowest common denominator is best common denominator. This should be fun. Roll tape.
Hi, I'm Samantha Hansen, and I'm in EDS 206 this semester with Dr. K.
Well, hi Samantha, I'm Hagbard Celine. I'm in No BS 101 with Dr. Randomercam. What's your position on all this?
In this video, I'll be discussing the article, Learning in, A Student's Guide to Engaging Constructively with Social Justice Content.
Well, I'm unfamiliar with this article. Must have slipped through the cracks somehow. Oh well, I'm sure that you will make it quite familiar to us through your cognizant arguments.
The main focus of this article is to offer students guidance on how to use constructive argument.
I am looking forward to bearing witness to the constructive argumentative style that you've henceforth been educated on. Continue.
The authors of this article are both educators who teach social justice education.
Then I am absolutely sure that this article is full of well-reasoned arguments and a bright future for all.
They found that they often struggle with students resisting to new and challenging critical frameworks because the courses that address social justice and inequality through critical lenses are often challenged by mainstream understandings.
The findings of intelligent design and creation science are often challenged by the mainstream.
There are two main reasons to think that it's happening. The first one is students are unprepared to engage in course contact in scholarly ways.
See also that students think taking gender or race-based studies would be a waste of a good portion of their money.
Basic study habits, reading comprehension, writing skills, vocabulary, and critical thinking are often underdeveloped in college students.
That's simple. Then they shouldn't fucking be in college. Once upon a time, going to college was not the norm. Now, remedial goddamn high school students fill up colleges around the nation. This is not a good thing. It just looks like a good thing on paper.
And also, many schools focus on standardized testing, and that takes away from intellectual curiosity and critical thinking.
You can't have it both ways, dear. The reason why so many students are falling behind in college and showing up with remedial skills is they're struggling to pass even the standardized tests. I am not a supporter of standardized testing because I think it limits students' potential. However, it is a good measure of whether a student can solve basic math, English, etc. I've taken these tests. If you struggle with a standardized test, you're in trouble for life. You just stated that what the students were lacking in were basic educational principles, and now you're complaining that they weren't given enough time to be creative and critically think. That's not the issue here if they can't use the English language correctly or do basic mathematics.
The second one is most of us have very strong feelings and opinions about topics examined in social justice courses. Therefore, we come into the classroom closed-minded because we already know what we think, and we think that our way is the only right way, and we don't want to open up to different ideas that different people have.
So some people come into the classroom with their own opinions and tend to be somewhat resistant to your brainwashing. Unusual. We must find a way to solve this problem.
Therefore, we come into the classroom sometimes more closed-minded than what we think. And the main point of this article is that the authors give us 5 different guidelines on how to become more open-minded in the classroom.
Okay, how do I soften my brain to allow entry for the Borg?
And so the first one is strive for intellectual humility.
Wait, what was that?
Strive for intellectual humility.
Sorry, come again, one more time?
Strive for intellectual humility.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to assume you meant intellectual humility, which A is frankly not my strong suit, and B is akin to what most religious groups ask. You do realize that, right? Humility is the first step to most religions, especially Judeo-Christian religions.
Second one is recognize the difference between opinions and informed knowledge.
Correction, you mean informed opinion.
Third one is let go of personal antecedent evidence and look at broader societal problems.
Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, this is our college base. This is what's entering into college. This right here. Hell, she might be a sophomore. She might not even be a freshman. Just imagine that. She just said antecedent evidence. Now, I actually had to stop and look up antecedent. And as far as I can tell on these two sources, it's non-existent. However, if we look at the precursor antecede, it has Latin roots meaning coming before or that which came before or preceding. Now, with the word personal, I have to assume you meant the word anecdotal evidence, and to which I answer, you first. Secondarily, if you actually meant antecedent evidence, as in evidence you had procured previous to coming to the classroom, I would kindly respond, fuck you.
Notice your own defense reactions and attempt to use these reactions as entry points for gaining deeper self-knowledge.
What you're saying here is, don't defend yourself.
And 5, recognizing your own social personality that informs your perspectives and reactions to your instructors and those who work you study in the course.
That was deeply, deeply garbled, but I'm just going to assume what you meant for all intents and purposes was check your privilege.
One claim that the author makes that I challenge is the statement, educators are grading students' demonstrations of understanding of content and not perceived degree of effort.
Wait, what? You argue against that? What the fuck?
Obviously, I think it is really important that educators do grade students on the understanding of content.
Good.
But also.
No, but also.
But also.
No, but also.
But also.
There is no but also.
But I also think that they need to grade also on the amount of effort that the students put into it.
So you want participation trophies for fucking college? Get the fuck out of here.
I think they need to realize that students do have their own weaknesses and strengths in what they're learning.
Indeed, that is what they showed up to a classroom in an attempt to repair.
And some may be more cognitively advanced than others.
Yes, dear. Newsflash. Some people are smarter than other people. That is not a problem. That is the problem of the not-so-smart person, and their grades and performance are likely to reflect that. College should not change its environment simply to coddle to individuals intellectually incapable of performing at the same level as the other students.
And some maybe putting a lot of effort into what they're working on and what they're learning, but still not getting the best grade.
So what? You know what? Fuck it. If that's how you feel, you let that guy perform heart surgery on you or design your goddamn house.
So I think that educators need to be aware of that, and maybe those who are struggling with it should get extra help, because maybe they're putting their best effort into it and trying their best, but not getting the best grades. So I think that if they get extra help.
Oh my god. Listen, once you have entered the university level, you should be able to get peer help, but there should be no further assistance from the school. You should join a study group. You should study your ass off. And if you still fail, perhaps, just perhaps, you should admit that this is not the environment for you. Perhaps trade school is for more people than college is.
That teacher actually notices how much effort they're putting into it, and that helps them get a better grade on it. And so like they're both graded on what they know and how much effort they're putting into it.
So you would like grading averages to be weighted towards idiocy versus effort. That is the most retarded grading scheme I have ever heard of in my entire life. You cannot measure someone's effort. You can measure someone's correctness on answers. It is absurd to even advise one would grade based on effort.
One guideline from the essay that is most challenging for me is guideline number 3. Let go of antecedent evidence and instead examine patterns.
Jesus, there it is again. Endocedal now. Is it with an E and A? Enunciate your goddamn words, woman.
I really don't think you can totally let go of personal evidence in the classroom with discussions, because personal experiences are important in what we talk to bring up discussions and issues that we talk about in the classroom.
Okay, so you did mean anecdotal evidence. You're a college student. You should know that word.
I mean, there are our personal experiences that are like what we think, what we experienced, and I don't think you can like totally let go of that. And I do see where the authors are coming from, saying that there are some bad examples of personal experiences that can be brought up in discussions because they're not factual and there's only one side of the story to them.
Yes, that would essentially be one of the understandings of all anecdotal evidence, but go on.
I also think that some personal experiences are good and should be brought up in class discussions. There's definitely a spectrum of personal experiences. Some are bad and some are good. And I really don't think you can totally take out personal experiences because they do make us there. There are experiences that make us who we are, and I think that some do help with class discussions. And for me, at least, sometimes I connect better to personal experiences and what we're learning. They help me to understand better what we're talking about, and also like really connect with somebody and what they experience in with their life.
Yes, anecdotal experiences can indeed help one emotionally connect to another individual. However, I'm not certain how you would play this into a classroom discussion. It's an interesting proposition, but I don't see a whole lot of value in it.
So I don't think you can totally, for me, I don't think you can let go of personal experiences altogether in the classroom.
Perhaps not in the classrooms that you typically attend. However, in the harder sciences and philosophy classrooms, your personal experience means essentially nothing.
But two potential strategies or approaches for meeting this guideline during the semester is maybe, first one is use factual resources to support your argument instead of personal experiences.
Wow, this one's learning. Use factual resources instead of personal experience. Imagine that. Be careful now. Talking like that might get you kicked out of a social justice classroom.
So maybe before you go to a classroom discussion or whatever you're learning in the classrooms, maybe look up some factual resources instead of using your personal experiences.
Well, you're repeating yourself a bit here, dear, but yes, to find factual resources, one would have to do research into said factual resources.
Therefore, like, you really, like, it's factual, it's hard, it's really hardcore facts, like, you have proof for what you support, and you have, those facts can really back you up.
It is terrifying to me that to her the idea of factual proof and resource-based evidence is a novelty somehow.
The second one is because your personal perspective doesn't cover the whole spectrum of ideas, you can look up other people's viewpoints on the subject who are different in race, gender, sexuality than yourself to create a more culturally based and accurate viewpoint of the issue. So maybe not totally letting go of personal experiences, but maybe using your personal experiences and other people's who are personal experiences who are of different background of you, like different race, different sexuality, different gender than you, to use their personal experiences to like create a more accurate viewpoint of what you're trying to talk about, and maybe mix those together to like make a stronger point and show that it's not just your personal experience that you're using, but also different people's personal experiences.
So what you're admitting here is that a straight white person's personal experience is not as valuable as a gay person of color's personal experience. You phrased it in a complex manner, but that's essentially what you're saying while dancing around the issue. It's interesting, but it's utter bullshit. All personal experience is just that. Personal experience. Pretty much bullshit.
In conclusion, I did learn a lot from this article.
Then I conclude that you have no business in a college classroom.
I definitely learned that a lot of times I am closed-minded in the classroom, and I really don't open up to different ideas and different opinions, different things that students have to say.
See, this is the problem. You're in a classroom where opinions and differing opinions can even be sourced as facts. This is an issue because otherwise you would just be learning, indeed, facts. Irrefutable evidence for things that are or are not about the world. Reality-based claims.
So I think that if I'm really gonna try to follow these 5 guidelines in the classroom to help me become more open-minded. That I think they definitely will help in the future, and I think that more schools should definitely, more teachers, more educators should use these guidelines in the classroom. Thank you.
Well, you're quite welcome. However, I would like to note that I respectfully disagree with your position. I don't see a whole lot of functional classrooms that can actually apply these rules, which is why the social justice movement is hitting a stumbling block when it comes to all of the STEM fields, because they're not based on any sort of fluctuating opinion, they're based on repeatable results. And as it were, the departments you appear to be educated by are not so interested in anything like that. They're interested in pushing an ideology. And for some reason, this ideology is based almost entirely on personal experience, which is why you had to sit here and lecture so much about what you learned about personal experience. Personal experience is a great thing for one to draw one's own inferences from, but is not always and is rarely applicable to larger social issues. Until you identity politics obsessed lunatics calm down with this shit, personal opinion needs to be utterly disregarded. It means little to nothing until identity politics is over. And then we can talk about the actual injustices still left in this world that aren't based in any way, shape, or form on anything you were born with or as. Unless you were born with an egregious medical condition. So unless you are equating being a woman or being a person of color to being gravely, gravely disabled on birth, you guys need to find another avenue of attack. I'd like to thank everybody who got through this with me, and I hope you all have a lovely week. I'll see you in the coming Wednesday, and good luck out there.